Developing story in the NFL. Sources close to Tom Brady believe he's preparing to retire after 22 seasons in the NFL. That's according to CBS Sports NFL insider Jason La Canfora, also reporting that several sources in Brady's inner circle anticipate him to reveal his plans in the coming days.
We begin with breaking news here at NFL Network. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm Kayla Burton. This comes after 22 seasons, 7-time Super Bowl champion and longtime veteran quarterback Tom Brady is officially retiring.
All right, back here with Jason La Canfora. Jason, this is obviously monster news. What more can you tell us about Tom Brady perhaps potentially retiring here in the next couple days?
Well, again, the people close to Tom Brady who have been watching him for weeks now and gathering sort of what they could pick up and the clues he's leaving and what he's saying and what he's leaving unsaid. They do believe he's played his final football game. There are a multitude of people close to him who are under that impression. He has not explicitly said anything one way or the other, but he is going to clear this up sooner rather than later. I'm told the latest it would come is shortly after the Super Bowl, but even more likely that we find out this week from the GOAT himself where things stand. And I anticipate strongly that that is going to be a retirement announcement, whether he does that through social media and then obviously a press conference, the many ways, shapes, and forms that could take. But certainly the Tampa Bay Bucs are preparing for two outcomes right now. And one of those very much is we've got to find a new quarterback. We've got to figure out if we're going with somebody who's older, who we think we can win with now, or whether or not this whole thing is going to evolve and change and maybe look a little more like a rebuild, because if Tom Brady's gone, and again, that is my expectation, there are going to be others who go as well, whether they retire, whether they move on in free agency, etc. There is only one GOAT. He played at an MVP level, but he has family commitments. He has other things he wants to do with his life, and it is important to him that he go out healthy, that he go out on top, and that he go out feeling fulfilled. And the sense in that locker room was, yes, we fell short of a Super Bowl this year, but we had a meaningful season. We fought to the very end, and we did so knowing that our leader was more likely than not making his final run here in the postseason.
I know that you're reporting this. I know that you're getting information from sources that Tom Brady is going to retire. But do you find it tough to believe that Tom Brady would retire after his last completion was a 9-yard pass to Cameron Brate and they lost to the Rams in the playoffs? Do you see that actually being a realistic scenario for the GOAT, a 7-time Super Bowl champ?
Yeah, it's really realistic. He hasn't committed to playing next year, and he's made it pretty clear that he's at a different point in his life now than he ever was before. His last pass for the New England Patriots was a pick six, was it not? In a playoff game to end it. I mean, you can't control everything. The odds of going out a Super Bowl winner again after just winning it last year and having a team where they did everything they could to bring all 22 starters back, but that's not happening in 2022. It's impossible for a multitude of reasons, and I don't think anybody's going to be worried about who his last pass went to or how many yards it was. He led a 24-point comeback in a game they really had no business getting back into. He gave his team every chance to win. He played like an MVP this year. He's not scheduled for any surgeries. He's not scheduled for any major procedures. He didn't go out on a gurney. He didn't get wheeled out of a stadium. He went out as close to the top as you can, playing in his own stadium where he just won a Super Bowl, a year before, and leading a memorable comeback. So, again, this is somebody who's been doing this, who's been putting his body through this for a long time.
Sunday after the Bucs playoff loss, and reports surfaced before the game in which the 44-year-old's football future was undecided, and the QB addressed that on his podcast on Monday. Take a listen.
Football is extremely important in my life, and it means a lot to me, and I care a lot about what we're trying to accomplish as a team, and I care a lot about my teammates. And the biggest difference now that I'm older is I have kids now too, and I care about them a lot as well. They've been my biggest supporters. My wife is my biggest supporter. It pains her to see me get hit out there. And, she deserves what she needs from me as a husband, and my kids deserve what they need from me as a dad.
Shannon, now, what do you think the percent chance is he retires?
Skip, this is really the first time that I've ever heard Tom Brady talk about his football mortality.
Yep.
He's always talked about this magic age of 45, and he's on the cusp of being able to play his 23rd season, play for it till he's 45. But when you start to hear him, and you heard a little bit after a game, and Skip, sometimes when you lose a game and that you thought you were going to win, especially the way it started out, and you battle back, because so many times, Skip, he's been in this situation before, start way behind, battle back, and somehow find a way to win the ball game.
Yep.
And for him to do that, obviously it's really fresh, it's really hard, because they were so hell-bent on repeating. They brought basically everybody back to try to run this thing back again, Skip. And so to hear him, but what we didn't hear him say in that clip that we played, Skip, is that I heard him say something that I had never, ever heard Tom Brady say before in the podcast with, I think, Jim Gray and I think Larry Fitzgerald. He said he's satisfied with what he accomplished this year. I've never heard Tom Brady speak in satisfactory terms.
Yep.
Everything is, Skip, what's your favorite ring? The next one. It was always, and people talking about in his gym, he has the date of the next Super Bowl. He's already had 56 when he won whatever he won, 52, 53 was on the clock, 54 was on the clock, 55, 56, and so forth and so on. Now, Skip, he's speaking in satisfactory terms.
I'm proud and satisfied.
Let me tell you what I've never heard great say, Skip, because when you're trying to accomplish something, you don't really realize. LeBron James does not really realize what he's doing because he's trying to do it. It's only when he sits back and says, man, I did that. I was this many time All-Star. Tom Brady is finally sitting back like, hold on, I got 7 rings.
Yep.
All-time this, all-time that, Skip. And Skip, I was in that very situation, Skip. My brother used to tell me, well, how you feel? I said, man, I feel good. He's like, okay, what are your times? I said, man, I'm still running the times back, but I just can't do the volume. So, okay, just keep, that's what like year 10, Skip, every year you start asking me about that. And then I got an opportunity. CBS reached out. Would you be interested in interviewing for, the job? I'm like, sure. And Skip, I went and interviewed for the job, but I got home and I started thinking, man, I won 3 Super Bowls. I've been an All-Pro, Pro Bowls, 11 50K seasons. Not even bad for a 7th round draft pick. All of a sudden, Skip, I was starting to become satisfied with what I had done. So it didn't really interest me to get 12. It didn't interest me to all of a sudden be an 8-time Pro Bowl. A 9-time Pro Bowl. Skip, I was like, I think that's what Tom is going through, Skip. That tug to serve 2 masters, football and family. You love one and despise the other. And I think the tug of the family, I think he has an older son that's probably 14. Has this son, I think, 12?
Yep.
And V, the baby girl, is probably 9, 10?
9.
So now, Skip, hold on. Damn, I done missed everything. I saw the birth. Hold on, when did you get 9? When did you get 12? When did he turn 14? So now, Skip, hold on. Is the grind of another Super Bowl, Skip, is that worth missing another year? Is that worth missing another recital? Is that worth missing another baseball, soccer, or football practice? Is that worth that? And he's right, Skip. I mean, those licks start to hurt. And I can you imagine the wife of a prize fighter? If Tom Brady don't want to hit, because imagine what she's going through. Yep. So every time Tom hits the dirt, she's like, ooh, damn, baby. Tom probably moving a little slower, Skip. All of a sudden on Monday morning, Skip, ooh, baby, that hit her a little more. Baby, why don't you come on home? Skip, after the game, I said, Skip, I believe it's 60-40. He comes back. I've gone the other way. I think it's 40-60. I think it's trending in a direction that Tom Brady is starting to see his football mortality. And it seems to me he's become at peace. That's what you have to make, Skip. That's what you have to reconcile. You have to come to peace with that. It's going to be a lot more difficult once the season rolls around and all of a sudden the routine. That's what Tom Brady's routine. He loved the routine. I love to practice. I love to watch tape. Skip, I'm going to say it's 40% he comes back. 60% he retires.
All right. It is now my turn. When we discussed this last week, because Rob Ninkovich and my friend Christian Fourier, who played with Tom for the Patriots, both suggested this could be it. Wouldn't be surprising if he walked into the sunset.
Right. Especially if he won.
Yeah, I think they were even looking at the delayed final installment of the, what's it called?
Man in the Arena.
Man in the Arena. Okay. Which delayed until April. They thought, well, maybe that means that would be his swan song.
Right.
I scoffed at that. I believe you scoffed
did
at
too.
that. Because all he did this year was play at an MVP level. I do not believe he's going to win MVP, but your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, strongly suggested and validated that his numbers say he should be winning the MVP this year. He did win a home playoff game against Philadelphia, and then all he did, obviously Sunday, was to throw for 125 in the fourth quarter as they scored 24 unanswered points in the second half to get back to 27 all. And then we all know what happened at the end, obviously not Brady's fault, that they had a defensive breakdown on a blitz that was called, and I still don't get it, but whatever. It was a disaster for them, and the game ended shockingly abruptly, and very possibly his career ended shockingly and abruptly, because I was a little taken aback that he didn't immediately say after the game, oh, I'm coming back next year,
Right.
because he'd already extended for next year. It was also for cap purposes,
Right.
where he'll only count next year if, in fact, he did play $18.4 million, which is way down the list of what that would be 17th among quarterbacks. I was told last night that the Buccaneers are now in a position that they will be surprised if he plays for them next year. Well, when I heard that, it knocked me on my keister. It shook me and it shocked me because I didn't see that coming.
I don't know about Skip. No, Skip, you mentioned the numbers. 5,300 yards, 43 touchdowns, led the league in completion percentage. And you walk away from that, not 2,500 yards and 12 touchdowns.
But what I was told was, if he were a single man right now, as he approaches age 45, he would sign for 5 more years. That's the exact quote that I was told via the Buccaneers. They believe he's got 5 years left in him if he so chose. But you heard those quotes, and they hit home to me, and I got no issue with any of them because we've been talking about this for years. How much longer will she let him? Will they let him? Vivian at 9, how many more times can he go home and hear her say, Daddy, why do you do that?
Right.
You know, what? Because she's up there in the box. We saw a shot of them, and they have to watch him undergo more pressure than he underwent in any game this year. He was under pressure 30% of the time. He took a couple of shots, not any career-threatening ones, and it wasn't. He took the helmet up under his chin from Von Miller, no big deal. But again, his wife has to sit up there or stand up there and grimace and wince at he got hit again. He's 44 years old. And we're talking about, she knows about Aaron Donald. She knows about Von Miller. She knows about Floyd. She knows about Gaines. She gets it that this is the fiercest pass rush in pro football. And for 4 long quarters, her husband has to stand back there under fire, under threat from those guys. And they don't want to hurt him. They respect him, but it's football. And she knows this. And she's been after him now for, what's it been, 5 years of this?
Oh, longer than that. Because, Skip, remember, she told a story, I think, when one of the documentaries that he talked about retirement in 2009 and 2010. And here we are 13 years later, Skip.
Okay, so all of a sudden, I'm afraid I have to go all the way up to 90% on this one because it feels real to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because it felt so real to them after the game when he didn't automatically just embrace the opportunity to play again next year. Okay, just to qualify this, as you so aptly point out, he just got his soul crushed on the football field. He didn't see that coming, and I'm sure he was not in the best of moods to be talking about his future, and he tried to avoid with the media. But then when he did that, when he had 24 hours to sleep on it and let it settle, when you heard those quotes from him, I think that's about as real as it got. So I throw out only one other, and you can throw this out as a long shot possibility. Obviously, before he chose Tampa Bay, he wanted to go home to San Francisco. He grew up in the shadow of the 49ers in San Mateo when they played up at Candlestick Park out on Candlestick Point off the 101, but very near. He could get there from his house in San Mateo in like 15 minutes. he was a Montana fan. Montana was the GOAT before Brady, and then Brady became the GOAT and transcended Montana. So he wanted to go home and play for the 49ers, and they said no.
Right.
Is there a chance that they would say yes this time? Obviously, we have an outcome awaiting us here. We've got them in the NFC Championship game, and then who knows, we might have them in the Super Bowl.
But Skip, that defeats the purpose. So
now we welcome in NFL insider Ian Rappaport, who joins us. And Ian, we know that there has been speculation about Tom Brady's retirement, but this is official.
Yeah, this is Tom Brady's plan, and really no surprise when you consider his comments on his own podcast just a couple days ago. You know, Brady has been adamant for years and years and years that he wanted to play to 45 years old, wanted to kind of keep going and see maybe he could reach 50, and that he still felt like he was capable of playing. And then suddenly the conversation shifted a little bit. And, you know, as recently as last week, Tom Brady was telling people he wasn't quite sure, and he was, I would say, seriously considering retirement. He was weighing retirement. And then he started talking on his podcast about family, about doing what's right for his family, about making sure that he spent enough time with his children, about possibly stepping away from the game. And now he is expected to do this. It didn't seem like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a chance to make a final pitch to keep him. Instead, the quarterback who probably drew as much publicity as anyone over the course of the last 2 decades walks away on a Saturday afternoon without an announcement except for his own company chiming in on Twitter with congratulations.
And we also know, as you mentioned, his family being a big part of this decision, including his wife Giselle. Do you know how important it was for his family to be a part of this role in his decision retiring?
Yeah, and you know, it sounds like Giselle has been pushing for retirement for some time, and I don't even think she's really been shy about that. I mean, she's basically said publicly that she wished he would retire. And I think if you're Tom Brady, you know, when this started coming out, I would say about a couple weeks ago, that Brady may retire, that he was considering what was he going to do, all of that, you know, people would ask, why would he retire? He's still healthy, he's still good. And I kept thinking, why would he not retire? Like, seriously, like he's healthy, he's 44 years old, he's won 7 Super Bowls, he has plenty of money and has a great life to go back to. At some point, isn't enough? And this seemed to be enough. And I think for Tom Brady, you know, his trip to Tampa worked out great, won a Super Bowl. Obviously, it did not go this year as he has hoped. A perfect time to step away with plenty of other opportunities. He's got a clothing line. He's got a production company that he's heavily involved in. Tom Brady will not be bored in retirement, but he will be in retirement.
Not bored at all. I mean, 5-time Super Bowl MVP, 3-time NFL MVP, and also, as we know this year, 15-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro. And we know that just what he has dedicated to both the Patriots organization as well as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being able to win the Super Bowl championship. And Ian, we're seeing social media just take off right now from his former teammates, his now teammates. You know, what does this mean for the entire National Football League, including the guys that he was right beside this whole time?
Well, you know, of course, it's an end of an era. I mean, Tom Brady is the greatest player of all time. He is the greatest player of all time. He is the greatest quarterback. He is the most decorated. He has won the most Super Bowls. He has had countless Pro Bowls and winning seasons, and you know, the kind of longevity that is just not possible in the salary cap era unless you are first with the Patriots and then with the Bucs. Tom Brady. I mean, it's seismic. Now, it's also worth noting that the NFL is in a great place. You know, the NFL has some star quarterbacks, and we're going to see some of them on the field tomorrow for, you know, championship weekend. We're going to see Joe Burrow. We're going to see Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the NFL is in good hands, and Tom Brady left it in good hands, but no doubt this is the greatest player of all time, and him leaving is a dramatic shift for the NFL, for the Bucs, for the NFC South. I mean, is for everything that Brady has ever been involved in, dramatic.
And now, obviously, Tom Brady's just entire family, everything that has supported him, including TB12 Sports tweeting out this: 7 Super Bowl rings, just recognizing all the accolades that Tom Brady has devoted and accomplished here in the National Football League. 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 league MVP awards, 22 incredible seasons. Thank you for it all, Tom Brady.
Adam Schefter is joining us right now. Adam was one of the ones who broke this story. And Adam, 22 years, Brady just led the league in passing. I mean, he's 44, so you understand retirement is coming. What tipped the scales to do it after this season and now?
Listen, he talked on his podcast this past week with Jim Gray about the fact that it's time to spend more time with family, the sacrifice it takes. And I think when you look at the body of work after 22 seasons, becoming the most accomplished passer and player in NFL history, 7 rings, what else is there to do at this point in time? It's time to move on to the next chapter of your life, to spend time with your family, to go on to other business ventures. Obviously, he's got the TB12 company. He believes so much in all of those products that he endorses. And so there's so much that I think he still wants to do. And again, at this point in time, he's ready to move on and move away from football. It's a long, storied career, an incredible run, and we'll see when he decides to make the announcement official and announce the news himself, Reese.
You know, Adam, when a guy plays at the level that he did, and even though you understand and respect all of that, and certainly he's earned the right, you know him really well. How do you think he'll adjust to not having that routine and having that exhilaration of professional football in his life?
Well, it's an adjustment for everybody. Anybody that plays sports at a high level for any long period of time, even not at a high level, whenever they go away from the sport, it's a transition. And Tom Brady's about to transition into the next phase of his life for something that was such a dear part of his life for so long, for such a long period of time. And again, he's now about to do what others have done, but nobody has done it at the level that he has for as long as he has. But again, obviously he's given a lot of thought to this and what he'd like to do next. And now he begins to take the next steps into his next chapter of his career. And again, Reese, the Buccaneers still haven't heard from Tom Brady. They're still waiting to hear. So this is still developing. But yes, the plan is to retire.
So Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington reporting the story that Tom Brady retiring after 22 years. I said this week, I thought he was leaning for the first time in his career. I thought it was better than 50% chance he'd retire. The 3 reasons I gave, and I still believe those. Number 1, he's leaving as a refined, dynamic player. That's good for the legacy. Number 2, it's good for his health and wellness brand, TB12. He's not limping off, wobbling off. He's still viewed as a staggeringly talented quarterback, top of class. And also, I really do believe he gave us multiple hints during the year. He was frustrated with the lack of focus. He is a creature of habit. Tom loves structure. Belichick and Tom were a perfect match. Bruce Arians, not as much. It worked briefly. 2 years, 1 Super Bowl.
Hello and welcome to Unsolved Sports Conspiracies, a show where we examine sports' greatest myths and debate their validity. This week, we explore Deflategate, a dramatic plot shrouded in lies and mysteries centered around NFL Golden Boy Mr. Thomas Edward Brady Jr. and his diabolical New England Patriots.
Brady's innocent. Free Brady.
Well, it's too late. He already served the time, and he definitely did the crime.
Oh my gosh.
Let's get into it.
The story begins January 18th, 2015, at the AFC Championship game between the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts. The Patriots would prevail, beating the Colts 45-7 and eventually win the Super Bowl 2 weeks later. All seemed fair during the AFC Championship until a play during the second quarter of the game would uncover a possible plot that would shake the league. I present to you Deflategate. Let's get into the conspiracy. During the second quarter, Colts linebacker DeQuell Jackson intercepted a pass from Patriots quarterback Tom Brady. And it is here that the issue of deflated balls was brought to attention as Jackson brought the ball to the Colts equipment staff. Eventually, officials on the field were informed of raised suspicions. At halftime, it was discovered that 11 of the 12 Patriots balls were underinflated by roughly 2 pounds per square inch. Allegedly, deflating the football allows for an easier grip for the quarterback and receivers. This would be an advantage in rain weather, which the AFC game was played in. After this discovery, the original 12 balls were replaced after the second half kickoff with 12 backup balls, and the game went as scheduled, with the Patriots trouncing the Colts 45-7. It should be noted that the Patriots scored 28 of their 45 points in the second half, so this Deflategate likely didn't have much effect on the outcome of the game.
Then what are we doing here?
But that's besides the point.
No.
You know why it's besides the point?
Why?
I'll tell you why. I'm glad you asked why, because now I'm going to tell you why. That's how it works. Let me tell you. You listening?
Right, I'm listening. Ears are wide open.
Whether or not cheating gained you an advantage in the game is besides the point. The fact that you cheated at all is still punishable.
What you failed to mention is the Colts defense was garbage.
If you're so great, if you're so much better, why cheat?
The next day, on January 19th, 2015, Bob Kravitz, a WTHR Colts reporter, tweeted that the Patriots were going to be investigated for the deflated balls they provided for the game.
They're salty. A Colts reporter, after getting blown out, is like, hold on, I think the Patriots cheated. That's the only way they beat us.
He's not the one making the investigation happen. He's just reporting that there is an investigation happening. This is the NFL doing this, not the Colts.
Salty.
That same day, Patriots coach Bill Belichick stated, quote, "I really don't know what to say or know anything about what we're talking about here. Whatever it is, we'll cooperate with the investigation the best we can," end quote. On January 22nd, 2015, legendary Hall of Fame coach John Madden told the Sports Exchange that he believes it's plausible that Tom Brady made a deal with someone on the equipment staff. He did not think Patriots coach Bill Belichick had anything to do with it. Quote, "I can see," and you hate to make examples of what you can see because that sounds like you are accusing someone, "but I can see that being between the quarterback and the equipment guy," end quote. He continued, quote, "That's something that wouldn't be driven by a coach or just the equipment guy. Nobody, not even the head coach, would do anything to the football unilaterally, such as adjust the amount of pressure in a ball without the quarterback not knowing. It would have to be the quarterback's idea," end quote.
I think that's a fair, logical assumption to make. There's no world where he's getting the ball hiked to him the first play of the game and he's like, what the is going on with the ball? He knows.
Okay.
On January 23rd, 2015, the same day the NFL released a statement, Tom Brady claimed, quote, "I didn't alter the ball in any way," end quote, at a press room at Gillette Stadium.
So he's doing his part denying it.
Yeah.
Do you buy that Tom Brady, Hall of Fame quarterback, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, doesn't recognize when a ball's different than it should be?
Counter. Do you think Tom Brady, 5-time Super Bowl champ, is playing the Colts and goes, "Hey, ball boy, here's $10,000. How about you deflate them a little bit so I can actually get some throws in so they can catch the ball and we can beat the Colts and go on to the Super Bowl?"
Plausible.
The following day, on January 24th, Belichick tries to talk about the science of the deflated balls, suggesting perhaps a, quote, "rubbing process," end quote, used to break in the leather of the footballs, can affect the air pressure of the ball once a game has started. He continued, quote, "I think that explains why when we gave them to the officials, and the officials put it at, let's say 12.5, if that's in fact what they did, that once the football reached its equilibrium state, it probably was closer to 11.5, end quote. Interestingly enough, Bill Nye the Science Guy weighed in on Belichick's theory, stating, quote, "What Belichick said didn't make any sense," end quote.
I'm glad we're getting Disney host Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Hey man, he wears colorful bow ties.
You know what? Put Brady in jail because Bill Nye the Science Guy said so. He was known for being on a children's TV show that you would watch when your science teacher was sick and he had a substitute teacher.
On January 26, 2015, the same day the Patriots arrive in Arizona for the Super Bowl, it is reported that the league had interviewed a Patriots locker room attendant who was allegedly caught on surveillance during the AFC game, taking 2 bags of footballs from the officials' locker room into a bathroom and leaving the bathroom 90 seconds later. Reportedly, the Patriots gave the surveillance footage to the NFL early on when the investigation began.
So he deflated all these balls in 90 seconds?
Possibly. Either that or we had a team of guys in there just waiting at the ready with needles.
In the bathroom?
Yeah, and they were just like, all right, pit stop. They changed tires in 90 seconds. NASCAR.
That's NASCAR.
You don't think a ball boy could deflate 11 balls in 90 seconds? I could do that in my sleep.
On February 19th, 2015, it is revealed that when the Patriots and Colts previously played on November 16th, 2014, the Colts had been suspicious of possible tampering. This caused them to reach out to the NFL within the week before the AFC game was even played.
The Colts are the franchise that reminds the teacher that they forgot to assign homework. They're the one that's tattletaling, hey, Tom Brady is deflating the balls. That's why they beat us 45-7. No, man, you guys suck.
Let's dig into the investigation, starting with the plausibility of Deflategate occurring, despite being under the watch of NFL regulations. The number of footballs provided and the testing of these footballs before each game is pretty thorough. It's hard to imagine that the deflation of 11 out of 12 of the Patriots' balls was a mere coincidence. According to NFL regulations, each team must provide 12 balls for referees to test approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes before each game.
That's weird. Why not like
5 minutes? Yeah, exactly, right?
2 hours?
That's a lot of time for some shady business to go down.
Okay, that's true.
The home team must provide the pump, and in the case of outdoor games, they must also bring 12 more backup balls. The visiting team may also provide 12 backup balls. The NFL rulebook states that the balls must be inflated between 12.5 and 13.5 pounds per square inch. As a reminder, the average measurement of the Patriots balls was 11.49 psi, with the lowest being 10.9 psi, almost 2 pounds underinflated.
You know something I never understood? Why does each team have different balls? Like, why don't they just play with the same ball?
Sports is a very superstitious realm.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just,
I'm just saying, maybe if they made a rule where everybody has the same ball, this wouldn't have happened.
They didn't, and guess what? Mr. Brady found a loophole, and he jumped right through it. Right through.
If the home team balls do not meet requirements, then the referee must use a ball from the visitors and report the incident to the commissioners. The referee is the sole judge of whether the balls meet requirements. Obviously, the balls were noticeably deflated, but is it possible that could have occurred naturally? Some argued that the Patriots were not guilty because of the ideal gas law, which essentially states that colder temperatures will cause pressure inside the ball to decrease and to increase in warmer conditions. To test that theory, aerospace engineers at Exponent spent 3 months in a lab trying to test for a scientific explanation for Deflategate. For testing, they recreated a locker room from the Gillette Stadium as well as part of the football field, both with similar temperature. They would watch a filming of the game and imitate exactly what they saw happening to the balls, wiping with towels, throwing them, etc., and even spraying them with water to imitate rain.
Who paid for this? Is this what our tax dollars is going to?
After extensive testing, Exponent, quote, identified no set of credible environmental or physical factors that completely accounts for the additional loss in air pressure, end quote.
Now, isn't there like a range of air pressure that you can have the ball at? Now, is it possible that the Tom Brady likes it as soft as possible and it was at legally the lowest air pressure it could be and then it changed during the game?
This is just the test that said that couldn't have happened. They recreated the field in a locker room. What more do you want, sir?
What kind of witch hunt is this?
It's not a witch hunt.
It's a witch hunt.
Critics of Exponent point out that they are usually hired by companies in duress that are typically facing payouts, lawsuits, and recalls. For example, they were hired by Swiss Re, a World Trade Center insurer after 9/11, by NASA after a shuttle explosion, and by BP after the Deepwater Horizon explosion. Some accuse the company of selling out scientific affirmation.
The NFL is going, hey, we want to punish Tom Brady. Can you find us just anything?
Why would they do that?
I'll tell you why Roger Goodell did this, the commissioner of the NFL, who is also corrupt.
He is corrupt.
This exact time, something that you have failed to mention was all of the Ray Rice stuff that happened. What happened with Roger Goodell was he suspended Ray Rice for 2 games at the beginning of the season, and then the footage got leaked. At that time, Roger Goodell was on the hot seat. What's the perfect distraction? NFL golden boy Tom Brady is a cheater. And that's exactly what he did.
That was an Olympic level stretch.
That's exactly what happened. It was a witch hunt. They were trying to find anything to distract from the fact that Roger Goodell sucks.
Parts of the Exponent lab results were utilized in the investigation by Ted Wells, a criminal attorney hired by the NFL to serve as an independent investigator. On May 6, 2015, almost 4 months after the start of the investigation, Wells would share his investigation results in a statement referred to as the Wells Report. In it, Wells states it is, quote, more likely than not, end quote, that the Patriots did knowingly tamper with the footballs, and that Tom Brady was likely aware of the situation.
I don't care who you are. If you are a quarterback, I doubt Tom Brady knows just from the feeling it like, oh, this is 10 PSI.
If I spent my entire life holding a football, if someone gave me an underinflated football, I'd be like, throw that thing in the oven. It's not done yet.
I get that. Now, is it possible if an equipment guy goes, hey, Tom Brady, I got the ball just the way you'd like it, and he touches it, and he goes, this is a little softer than normal, and you ask the ball boy, hey, is this up to standard? And he goes, yes, Tom Brady. You'll go, all right. Your first thought's not gonna go, oh, he's cheating. We have an advantage.
Evidence to back up his statement included text messages between John Jastrzemski, an equipment assistant, and Jim McNally, a locker room manager, which suggested Tom Brady's involvement. During the investigation, Brady suspiciously denied lead investigator Wells access to emails, phone records, and text messages. However, through access to Jastrzemski's records, Wells was able to deduce that contact between him and Brady increased after suspicions of tampering went public. They had not spoken for 6 months and then, over a period of 3 days, spoke 6 times over the phone. In the report, it is stated that Patriots personnel were unaware of the arrangement.
Guilty.
No.
Guilty.
Because Tom Brady talked to him?
6 times over a period of 3 days without talking to him for the 6 months prior. What about
They're
that?
playing phone tag. I've called you 6 times in a day.
Yeah, what the is the equipment manager and Tom Brady talking about on the phone? Oh, we got the new duffel bags and they're pretty sweet. They're purple. You want to see them? Nah, bro, they're duffel bags.
Did we ever think that they're actually friends? That Tom Brady has a friend?
And then why are they not talking for 6 months? What happened in the magical period of accusation?
You're right. They call each other 6 times being like, hey, did you deflate the balls yet? No, Tom, I'm about to do it. All right, let me know when you do.
How about this?
Hey, it's me, Tom, again. Did you deflate the balls yet? Tom, I told you I'm going to call you when I do it.
You hang up your fake phones. Let me pick mine up.
Oh.
Hey, they're on to us, man. They're on to us. I know. I don't know what we're going to do.
Tom's going, hey, ball boy, did you deflate the balls? Nah, Tom, I didn't. People are crazy. All right. Hey, ball boy, it's me, Tom again. Are you sure you didn't deflate the balls?
On May 11th, 2015, it is revealed that as punishment, Brady is suspended for 4 games without pay. The Patriots are fined $1 million and they lose a first-round draft pick in 2016 and a 4th-round pick in 2017. It is reported that Brady will appeal this decision. The next day, the Patriots released their own rebuttal to the Wells report. In it, they claimed that the Wells report lacks context. They also claimed that the word, quote, deflator, end quote, used in text messages between McNally and Jastrzemski were referring to a weight loss joke.
What? That's pretty funny.
That is
they use that as their argument.
The Patriots stated, quote, there is no evidence that Tom Brady preferred footballs that were lower than 12.5 PSI, and no evidence anyone even thought he did. All the extensive evidence which contradicts how the texts are interpreted by the investigators is simply dismissed as not plausible. Inconsistencies in logic and evidence are ignored, end quote. On May 19th, 2015, the owner of the Patriots, Robert Kraft, announces that he will accept the terms of punishment for the team. The NFL refused to reduce Brady's punishment, but on September 3rd, 2015, U.S. District Judge Richard M. Berman ruled that the penalty was too harsh and lifted the 4-game suspension. The NFL then appealed Berman's decision, and Brady's punishment was reinstated. On July 15, 2016, Brady announced his decision to not take his appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Imagine that scene. Like, we're in the Supreme Court. The victims of a family that just got murdered are walking down out of the courtroom, passing by Tom Brady like, what are you in here for? Oh, my whole family got slaughtered. Oh, what are you in here for? They think I deflated some footballs. So we have here a pressure gauge. We measured out the pressure of 2 different balls. Regulation inflation is 12.5 PSI. And the lowest Patriots ball was measured at 10.9 PSI. The average was about 11.5 PSI. We're gonna measure 12.5 versus 10.9. We're gonna see if we can blind identify which one is actually the underinflated ball.
Okay.
And prove once and for all that Tom Brady and the Patriots are a bunch of cheaters.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, here comes ball number 1.
Dude, this feels so inflated. Feel that. That's rock hard.
That's inflated. This is definitely regulation. That would be hard to catch in the rain, for sure.
This would be hard to catch in real life.
I mean, not me, because I have great hands. So.
Okay, let's prove it. Lucky.
Oh no. Oh no. I can't tell. I'm gonna go ball number 2 was the underinflated one.
But here's the thing. If you're Tom Brady, and you don't know that the ball boy may be underinflated, you just feel this.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe like,
but this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah,
I think this is the underinflated one.
Ball one or ball two?
That was ball one.
Ball one was underinflated?
Yeah.
What?
That's crazy. But that's exactly what we were saying. Is like if you're ready to go out to the game, you're thinking about a playoff game in your head, and ball boy hands this, you're not going to go, hold on 1 second.
In the end, many believe that Deflategate did indeed happen, but it seems only Tom Brady and the equipment staff involved will ever know the full truth. For now, and perhaps forever, the truth behind Deflategate remains unsolved.
The New England Patriots dynasty was built by the consistent and strong core of owner Robert Kraft, head coach Bill Belichick, and quarterback Tom Brady. Now with Tom Brady moving on from the organization, we can take a look back at what made the Patriots the most successful franchise in a 20-year period in NFL history. From 2001 to 2019, the Patriots had 17 playoff appearances, 17 AFC East Division championships, 9 Super Bowl appearances, and 6 NFL Super Bowl championships. Along with all the success the team had during this time period, there were a few controversies that they were involved in. You know the saying, cheaters never win and winners never cheat? Yeah, it's not true. Winners are just cheaters that don't get caught. Starting in the 2005 season, the Patriots have been involved in a few controversies where their opponents' headsets conveniently did not work properly in-game. After a 2005 playoff game against the Patriots in New England, then Jaguars coach Jack Del Rio told reporters that the whole first half of the game his headset mysteriously malfunctioned and he lost coach-to-quarterback communication. He attributed the loss of communication as a major factor in the Jags' 28-3 loss to the Pats. In 2006, then Lions offensive coordinator Mike Martz told reporters how 2 separate times in-game against the Patriots, his communication system with his offense went out and he lost the ability to call plays. Both times happened to be in the middle of quality offensive drives when the Lions were building momentum. After hearing those comments, then Bengals coach Marvin Lewis said, quote, "Yeah, I know. Headset went out. It happened to me in Foxborough too," end quote. A few years later, former NFL linebacker Carlos Dansby commented on the issue also. His Cardinals faced the Patriots in New England in Week 16 of the 2008 season. He said, "My headset was working fine every game until the very last game that year. We get in Foxborough, they couldn't get my headset fixed for nothing in the world." In the same game, Cardinals quarterback Matt Leinart cited that when coaches tried to call plays in his helmet, all he heard was static. The last instance of headset malfunction came in 2015 when the Steelers played the Patriots in Gillette Stadium. For the first 14 minutes of the game, Steelers coaches were receiving the Patriots radio network broadcast of the game through their headsets, making it harder to communicate. Every time an NFL official came down to the sidelines to fix the issue, the headset would stop receiving the broadcast. And when they left, the broadcast would start again.
Mike, what exactly happened? You just didn't have any communication?
We were listening to the Patriots radio broadcast for the majority of the first half on our headsets.
The coach to coach or the coach to quarterback?
Coach to coach.
Coach to coach.
In a 2007 regular season game between the Patriots and the Jets, a New England's video assistant's camera and film was seized by NFL security, and it was revealed he was filming the Jets' defensive schemes. Jets then head coach Eric Mangini was the one who told security about the filming because as a former assistant to Bill Belichick, he knew about the team's filming of opposing teams and wanted to prevent the Patriots from having an advantage in the game. This event caused a lot of controversy around the league and prompted the NFL to launch an investigation on the Patriots. Through the investigation, the NFL discovered that the Patriots' video department has been filming games since the 2001 NFL season. A cameraman would sit behind the opposing team's sideline and film the team's communications, whiteboards, and paperwork that would contain play signals.
Allegations were made before the Super Bowl. I don't think there's any new information since then, not really any that I'm aware of. I don't think those allegations are true. So, but I mean, we're moving on. I got a football team to coach, and that's what we're going to do.
Even back when Belichick was coach of the Cleveland Browns, a member of his staff would bribe a NFL Films camera operator to film their opponent's sideline. As coach of the Patriots, this practice was taken up a notch. Patriots scouts would attend games of upcoming Patriots opponents and create spreadsheets of the team's signals and corresponding plays. The spreadsheet was given to a staff member who matched the notes to the videotapes filmed from the sidelines. The Patriots had a whole database of videos with notes breaking down opponent signals, organized by opponent and by coach. To do the filming, Patriots videographers were told to look like ordinary media members, and if asked what they were filming, to say that it was for an NFL-related show. After the investigation, many former Patriots staff members admitted that the filming helped contribute to a lot of the organization's success from 2001 to 2007, and likely to many of their Super Bowl victories. The NFL Competition Committee admitted that they were trying to find ways that the Patriots cheated between 2001 and 2006 because there were so many rumors around the league. The rumors included Patriots bugging opponents' locker rooms and filming the St. Louis Rams walkthrough practice before Super Bowl 36. Even in 2017, the Eagles held a fake walkthrough practice before Super Bowl 52 because they were paranoid the Patriots were filming.
I think there are still a lot of coaches out there that don't trust the Patriots. So paranoid. Sometimes they'll overthink it and do some fake plays in case anybody's watching. Yep.
In 2014, two former key contributors to the Patriots became free agents and talked about how the team released falsified injury reports. Linebacker Brandon Spikes claimed he was placed on the injured reserve list before the playoffs unfairly because the team wanted to keep him off the field even though he felt he was able to play. Cornerback Aqib Talib said his hip injury designation in 2013 was incorrect because his quad was the real source of the pain. He was quoted in saying, "That's how they do things," in reference to the Patriots. In the 2014 AFC Championship game, the Patriots demolished the Colts 45-7. Shortly after the game, a report was released that Colts linebacker DeQuell Jacks felt that the football he caught for an interception was underinflated and alerted his coaches. As a result, the Colts made a claim to the league that the Patriots had deflated their footballs to make it easier for Tom Brady to throw in the cold weather. This once again prompted an NFL investigation into the Patriots organization. From the investigation, it was discovered that 11 out of the 12 of the team's footballs were significantly deflated in the game. There was a video showing how a Patriots locker room attendant entered a bathroom carrying 2 bags of balls. During the investigation, the NFL requested to look in Tom Brady's phone, but when he gave it to them, he had already factory reset the device, wiping it of any phone calls, messages, or emails. After the investigation concluded, it was determined that the Patriots' balls were intentionally deflated and that Tom Brady likely knew about it even though he claimed he had nothing to do with it. In 2017, the Steelers traveled to New England for a game against the Patriots. The night before their game, the fire alarm in the hotel the Steelers were staying at went off at 3 a.m. However, it did not go off because of a fire, but rather because a man no one knew pulled the fire alarm. Police did a brief investigation, but concluded that the man that pulled the fire alarm did not have any connection to the New England Patriots. Still, this raised some eyebrows around the league.
1-85, that's our call. 1-85.
No matter where I go?
80, yeah, so you can't hide.
Come on, coach. You serious or you just playing? Just tell me you're just playing.
I'm going to watch you run in the end zone and spike the ball here.
The most recent instance of Patriots cheating was in 2019. In Week 14 of the season, a Patriots film crew was found in the press box of the Bengals-Browns game, taking videos of the game and reportedly the Bengals sideline. When asked about it, the crew told NFL officials they were there to film a feature for a team video web series. The concerning part was that the Bengals were going to play the Patriots the following week, and no one from the film crew informed Bengals staff ahead of time that they were going to be at the game filming. This was eerily similar to the Spygate scandal from a decade before.
I don't know why you would think you could take that.
I didn't know. I gotta be honest. I didn't know. I'm sorry. But I can delete this right here for you.
Damage is done, my friend.
No, it isn't, because we deleted it.
Once it gets deleted,
it's gone.
29 yards on the punt.
I can't get that for
29 yards.
There's no way I can get that footage back. I'm being honest with you. And I don't have a computer to even put it that way. Once this card's, that's it.
Yeah, I don't see the advance scouting any of this video they're shooting.
So these are all the times in the last 20 years that the Patriots were caught cheating the NFL rules. There were also times in the last 2 decades when the Patriots came into controversy for specific plays that would bend the rules, but does not necessarily mean that they were cheating. Those were just times Bill Belichick took advantage of some loopholes in the league rulebook, which he should honestly be praised for. But that is for another video. Anyway.